Good morning, everyone. It's March 6th, and it's sunny and chilly outside. Today is the dreaded chore day. This is my worst chore day of the week, which is vacuum day. I hate vacuuming. It is, in a way, kind of satisfying because you see all the crap you pick up that's been all over your floors, but it just seems like a waste of time in my house because we have two dogs and one of them is always shedding constantly. So I will do it just to keep some of the hair and dust at bay, but I'm afraid I'm not very good at housekeeping. I'm better than some people are, and at least I try to stick to a routine, but it just isn't one of my gifts. So that's what I plan to do. After I make this video, I'll probably practice my guitar for a short while, and then walk the dogs, and then run the vacuum cleaner, and try to get that over as quickly as possible because I just hate doing it. And then tomorrow, we'll be preparing for our trip to Italy, which we will do by way of Switzerland. And as I mentioned before, we're going down there partly for vacation. We love Italy, and we're going to go to a part of Italy we'd never been before. But we're also going down there because this particular part of Italy has a lot of properties for sale. And we're not planning to look at any properties, but we are going to go down and sort of assess the mood and determine if we like the area enough to really seriously consider purchasing property there. And I've actually never owned a home before because thanks to the student loans that I had and the financial nightmare of my husband's first marriage and the fact that we moved constantly when he was in the Army, we just haven't had the opportunity to buy a house. And looking back on the past, it wouldn't have been a good idea for us anyway because for the first 12 years of our marriage, they were constant moves. So I thought we would settle down when he retired, but we wound up back in Germany. And I was delighted to come back here, but I did not think we were going to be here for going on 11 years. This was where the work was. He wasn't offered a job in the States. We needed him to get a job immediately after he got out of the Army. And the first place was Germany. And we were happy to come because we love Germany. And I still love Germany. And I'll stay as long as they let us. But it isn't home. And today I would like to talk about a person we met who was far from home, doing a very good job, but not home. And in part, it was because of Donald Trump. And we had that in common with him because we could go home now. But I really don't want to because of him. Because he's made life harder and less pleasant. And sadly, thanks to his policies, I'm not even sure how welcome we're going to be when we go to Italy. They're very friendly people and very warm. We have long friendship with them, but unfortunately, Donald Trump and his cronies are doing their very best to screw that up. So, as I've been talking about our travels and kind of relating them to today I would like to talk about a trip we took in 2017 with my husband's mother. Her name used to be Mary Beth, but she goes by Parker now. When she was in her 60s, she legally changed her name. And Parker visits us probably, I don't know, every other year, every couple of years she will come to Germany. She's been here a few times. My own mother has been here once, and that was in 2015. And sadly, that's the last time I've seen her because she doesn't want to fly to Europe, and I haven't been back in the States since 2014. May have to go back soon, but I don't know. But anyway, Parker came to visit us in 2017. It was around Christmas time. And at that time, we were financially not as well off as we are right now. And when she visits us, a lot of times we like to go on trips to different places which she hasn't been able to see. And we decided that year that we would do what was a blind booking. At that time, we were still living in the Stuttgart area, and there was a discount airline. It was called German Wings. It's now called Euro Wings, and they had what was called a blind booking, which is when you could pay a low price for a destination, and you wouldn't know where you were going until you paid. And I'm not saying it was you could wind up in, I don't know, Rio or someplace like that. They have different themes, and you would pick a theme, and there was a list of cities. And if there were any cities you didn't want to go to, you could pay a little bit extra, and that city would be taken off consideration. We ended up, the first time we did it was when we lived in Germany the first time together, and we went to London for Martin Luther King weekend, 2009. Had a great time. The second time we ended up in Barcelona. The third time we went to Munich, which that happened when we came on a Space A trip in 2012 from North Carolina. And we went to the Bonn airport and got a blind booking flight. Took us to Munich. We didn't save so much money, but actually turned out to be great because we were able to go to Austria too. And then when we flew back to Bonn, we went to Liechtenstein. And then the fourth time, which was the last time we did it, we went to Berlin. And I was excited about it because I'd never been to Berlin before. And I'm actually really interested in East Germany. We had been to East Germany by car, but going by plane was more convenient. Only took about, I don't even think it took an hour to fly there. But anyway, Parker and my husband Bill and I were in Berlin, and we needed lodging that would accommodate. So I booked us an apartment in the Adina Hotel, which is an Australian chain in Europe. They have hotels in different cities where they offer small apartments, so kind of like a homestay. And I got us a really nice apartment in this location in Berlin. It had 2 bedrooms and a kitchenette, and I think it even had laundry facilities in the apartment. So it was really nice. The weather wasn't so great when we got there, and it was Christmas time, so a lot of restaurants were booked and for Christmas parties and such. So we ended up having dinner in the hotel bar, and there was this guy there who was, sort of swarthy, very industrious, friendly fellow. Brought out some snacks for us and was, talking to us. And he said his name was Awsam, spelled Awsam. And he was, I was just going to have a beer, but I ended up ordering a cocktail. And at one point, I even got a Long Island iced tea just because, I was feeling obnoxious. And he said, "Oh, that's not a lady's drink." Luckily, I'm not much of a lady. But anyway, he was very friendly and welcoming, engaging. I could tell he was a very hard worker. And we really enjoyed talking to him. And he ended up giving us a couple of bottles of water on that because Bill gave him a nice tip and everything. And super nice guy. And I think the next night, we ended up going back to the restaurant. And Awsam was there, working hard. We had to wait a little while for him to get to us because he had other people that he was helping. And, no big deal. And he came over, and after we had dinner in the restaurant, we moved to the bar and talked to him some more. And at some point, we were talking about Texas. Parker lives in Texas, and we lived in Texas before we moved back to Germany. Only for a year. It was for my husband's last year in the military. And I actually thought we would probably end up staying there. Thank God we didn't. I didn't hate Texas at that time. I didn't love it because it was too hot, and I did not like where we were living. It was in a suburb of San Antonio. But there were other areas of San Antonio that I didn't mind, and I thought maybe if, everybody was like, oh, you'll get a job in San Antonio and you'll just stay. Well, that didn't end up happening. In 2014, we really needed Bill to get a job, and none were forthcoming. And we wound up, the first job was in Stuttgart. And I was happy about it because we wanted to go back to Stuttgart. When we were here the first time, we had to leave a year early. And I was pissed because there were still things I wanted to see. So it worked out. It was a pain to get us moved here. It was expensive. Some of it was covered by my husband's company at the time. And we still have half our stuff in storage in Texas. But in the long run, it worked out great, and he has thrived in his career. And we've now been in Germany for going on 11 years. I had not expected to be here this long. It was not our plan. And now, given how things have changed in the States, I don't think I want to go back. At least not anytime soon. And that was not my plan. I planned to buy a house in the States and settle somewhere. But now I'm in a different land. And Awsam, the bartender, similarly in that situation. And I had mentioned that I didn't like Texas because there were too many religious weirdos there. And Bill kind of gave me a warning look. Because Awsam was Muslim. And he told us, I'm Muslim. I don't mean that Muslims are weird, and that was not my point. I was talking about fundy Christians. I don't think Christians or Jewish people or Muslims or any of the other religions are weird per se. But in Texas, there were a lot of very aggressive people that would come door to door, and oftentimes on Sundays or Saturday mornings, and bang on the door and, try to get you to go to church. And I didn't like that. And that's what I meant. So, anyway, I stopped talking about that. But it wasn't long before Donald Trump came up. And at that time, he had just been in office since January of 2017. And it was December of 2017. So, Awsam somehow found himself talking to us about how Trump had affected the Middle East. And he said that he'd caused a day of rage because he wanted to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And it had caused rioting. People were fighting in Awsam's hometown and in the Middle East as a whole. And I could tell he was getting very upset. As he was talking about it, he was quite upset. I couldn't blame him, but I felt kind of helpless as I was listening to him, talking about how our president's policies had affected his country, and it affected people in the country. So, you could just sort of tell he was radiating energy. And he told us that he'd been a lawyer, and his father had died when he was in university. And because of the deteriorating conditions in Egypt, he left. And now he was slinging drinks in a hotel bar. And there he was, a Muslim. So, you know, at the first night we were there, he was very friendly, and the second night he got upset and emotional. And I think he was afraid that he offended us. I wasn't offended. I felt bad. I just, what can you do? At one point, at one point he was so upset that when I ordered another glass of wine and he just gave me the bottle. And anyway, at the end of the night, Bill went to pay him, and Awsam said, "I want you to be my guest." I guess he felt really bad about unloading. And Bill tried to insist, and Awsam said, no, I'm paying for this. And then he gave us 2 more bottles of water. And Bill put his right hand over his heart, and he said, Shukran, which means thank you in Arabic. And Awsam's face just lit up. And my mother-in-law asked if she could take his photo, and he said yes. She got this really great photo, and she said, well, how do you say thank you in Arabic? And Awsam said, your son knows. And it really just kind of drove home how much a little bit of cultural awareness and sensitivity will go in the world. At the same time, it really also showed us how our decisions in America affect people all over the world. And now, as an American who doesn't live in America, I worry for many reasons. I mean, because I don't even feel like I would be welcome in my own country. Because based on the way people act, even just online, when I make a song parody, or when I make one of these talking videos, or, people just completely lost civility and empathy for other people. And they forget that people like Awsam, or somebody coming from another country trying to escape a bad situation, that these are human beings. And they refer to them in dehumanizing terms, or they use really filthy language. And I do it sometimes myself, I will admit. But thinking about Awsam today and wondering if he's still working at the Adina Hotel, and remembering that he reminded us that these kinds of things have consequences. We all affect each other, and we're all humans, and we all have a story. So I think I will end today's chat and get on with the day, but I hope somebody got something out of this story. And if you listen to the whole thing, thank you very much. Have a great Thursday.